Hello. So I see this developer letter in the launcher, combat changes during the age of war. And I'm going to read this for you and I'm going to give some comments to it because it's really difficult to make a developer understand that whatever reason he gives to justify the changes, they could still be the wrong reasons and the wrong changes. So it starts off with, hello everyone, my name is Dennis Dudet and I am the lead designer for Conan Exiles. I spend a lot of my time as lead designer collaborating with the community on Discord, showing off new content on Twitch and YouTube, but this is the first time I've worked on a blog post to go with a release. I hope you find this insight interesting and not too long-winded. Topic today is combat changes coming during the age of war. So the first thing he talks about is good stress. To begin, it's important to establish one of the many reasons we find games to be fun. It's a contrast between stress and relief. When designing games, we look to introduce stress to you by placing challenges in your way. Challenges can be any type of gameplay that blocks your progress. A boss enemy with loot you want, a long wall climb with few resting points along the way, a puzzle that requires observation and timing to unlock a mechanical door. The closer we can stress you to a tipping point, only for you to just barely overcome a challenge, the better the victory feels. As you continue to read this article, keep the relationship between stress and relief in mind. Now, this makes perfect sense, right? If you don't have a game that challenges you, there's no fun. But anyone who has played on an official PvP server or is going to play on a PvP server in the future will very quickly realize that the challenge doesn't come from the game itself. The challenge comes from the other players who are walking around on the server. Anyone wanting to play PvP knows how to climb a wall, knows how to kill a boss. There is no challenge needed there. There's no stress for that. The stress comes from a player scouting your base while you have been playing for 1 day on the server and raid time is starting in 2 hours, and because the grind is just insane, and the thralls needed to make competitive armor or to increase your production are so rare and so difficult to get. And even if you get them, it takes more than 12 or 16 hours to turn them into something useful. Where is the relief gonna be there? It's not this 2-minute fight against the dragon or a 2-minute wall climb. It's a buildup of stress over several hours, even days, especially when you're playing on official PvP. You climb all the way up to the corner of the map. You build your little shit shack there and you start hauling resources up there. And then a player who has already been on the server, who is established, which took you 6 or 7 hours, let's say, to get all that material up there. He just summons a bat and he just flies through the volcano in less than 20 minutes. He knows every single base in the volcano. He marks them on the map, and as soon as raid time starts, his 2 or 3 friends all pick a bat and fly straight on top of the roof of your base. And those 10 or 12 hours you have invested in the last 2 days trying to get there, if you even have that time, because the average gamer only has 8.5 hours a week to play a computer game. They just steamroll over you and you lost everything. You have to start from zero again. You wake up in the spawning area where you started off, and you know you don't even have to go to your base again, because you know if you start repairing that, the next day they will be there again to destroy it and to steal everything you have. So what do you do then? You move on to another server. And you have to do this repeatedly over and over and over again until you get lucky. There's no skill involved here anymore. It's based on luck. Getting a thrall to make the armor is not based on skill, it's based on luck. Surviving the first 3 or 4 days into an official server is not based on skill, it's based on luck. Because there's absolutely nothing you can do against a 4-man clan who has been there for 2 or 3 months as a solo, as a duo. And then there's also something else that I would like to talk about. Wipe the goddamn PvP servers. Wipe them all. Announce it a month up front. Yes, player count will drop for 30 days because everybody knows, okay, it doesn't matter, it's gonna get wiped anyways. Or some people might even think about it differently and say, oh, wait a second, if the server gets wiped in 30 days, I haven't played Conan for 6 or 7 months now because I can't compete against big clans. I'm going to scout again, find a good base location, and the morning the server gets wiped, I'm going to go there and I'm going to claim that spot. Because it's always claimed by somebody else on every server. Some locations on the map are super overpowered. And it might actually bring more players back into PvP. And the reason for the wipe is also the Sipta gear. There are clans who have made body vaults on dozens of servers that are very popular within the community. And occasionally they just open their body vaults, take their Sipta gear, which is super obvious to anyone that it's overpowered to the point where it can be called godlike gear, yeah. And they just destroy an entire server in a matter of days because nobody can fight them. They have unlimited stamina. They have these vault helmets and armors which destroy a player in seconds. Even if you are completely maxed out, you need to be very, very lucky and very, very organized if you are a clan without Sipta gear to do anything against a player or two who have Sipta gear. It's completely ridiculous to not even know this, to acknowledge this, and simply say, all right, we're going to wipe these PvP servers. Look at any private server that does PvP every month, every 2 months. They wipe the server completely. And the reason for this is one big clan dominates the entire server, and the player pop on the server completely crashes. Everybody just walks away because it's impossible to compete against them. You claim to have so much experience in interacting with other people, and well, I'll tell you something about these other people. Yeah? They are yes men. If you say the sky is blue, they will say, ah, yes, the sky is blue, even though it's black as night, because they want to get into your favor. Yeah, they don't want to point you in the opposite direction of where you are going right now. Why did we change it? Combat and stamina. I've seen responses to the stamina updates in the patch notes asking why we made these changes. It is true that nobody outright asked us to increase the stamina cost of attacks, but sometimes fixing problems we identify can affect multiple systems. I will do my best to explain how we got from point to point that made these changes necessary. These changes sometimes have effects on more than one community as well. We have many different types of players in Conan Exiles, but without a doubt, nearly every type of player will be participating in combat at some point. So while nobody directly asked for that specific change, I can still say who the changes are for. The changes were aimed at making combat feel more consistent, less buggy, and more dynamic for everyone. It's contradictional what you're saying here. It's sorry. So first of all, you claim to communicate with so many people, and yet you say in the same article that nobody asked for these changes. Nobody directly said, "Our stamina in Conan Exiles right now is a problem." Well, it is not a problem. Stamina is not a problem, but for some reason you use this as an argument. You use arguments to turn this into a problem so you can change it. So while nobody directly asks for that specific change, I can still say who the changes are for. So you're basically saying I'm going to now list for a specific type of player in the community that's going to benefit these changes. And then you say the changes we are making are to feel more consistent, less buggy, and more dynamic for everyone. The problem: a unique mechanic was implemented in recent years after our team decided the game was too easy in our playtests. Enemies attacked by multiple players would never get a chance to act, causing them to be stun-locked to death. This led us to create a system that would give enemy AI brief immunity to stun after they had been unable to act for some time. For example's sake, the timing was something close to for every 3 seconds of being stunned, you get 1 second to act with impunity. I do agree this was an issue, but I think that solution introduced a new problem between the system providing immunity and the stun protection we give during attacks. It was difficult to understand when an enemy would be stunnable. It's not difficult. You can get 6 hits in, and then he has. Then you just need to dodge one combo, and then you can get 6 hits in again. I've played more than 50 hours now. I made a whole series on the beta playthrough. There is the only thing I noticed was the tier 2 fighters with maces. They do unexpected things because they get the hyper armor when they initiate an attack on you. And those are the only ones I had problems with. All the rest is just hit, 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 dodge. Make them do an animation again, hit, 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 attack them again. Dodge them again, sorry. Increasing consistency and dynamics. Even if you are a seasoned player, you likely have no idea why enemies are sometimes stunned and sometimes why they are not. We already did this. With stress and relief in mind, consider the combat system as it exists in Exiles today. If enemies have a large health pool and you can attack for long stretches of time before your stamina is depleted, where does the stress come in? If the enemy you are attacking has a chance to randomly defy the expected game mechanics to cause stress, how can you counter these actions skillfully? I do admit, there's a higher chance of dying to a dragon or a 3-skull boss. But it's not because of the stamina, it's because they hit harder and it takes time to heal up between those attacks. And if you have desync or you have or you don't have the skills to see that it is hit, 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 let him do an animation and walk away from him, then like the dragons in the unnamed city or the 3-skull bosses, spiders, they require more dodging and walking away from them. Not because their animations are more difficult or they are set up differently or they are unable to be stun locked. It's because they hit harder. With the stun break system eliminated, combat felt more predictable, but there was still one more place where consistency could be improved. Hyper armor is a window of time during an animation in which a character cannot be stunned. Many of the attacks in Exiles are inundated with hyper armor. In the second chapter of the Age of War, we plan to decrease the excess of hyper armor, which will increase the consistency of play further. The rule for which attacks get hyper armor will be simple. Hyper armor is reserved for moments during an attack where extreme momentum is present. There is some subjectivity to this, of course, but you can expect to see heavier weapons with slow animations and a lot of moving mass possessing most of the hyper armor, and smaller, faster weapons having less of it. This will open the window to using fast weapons to interrupt slow weapons, but should you fail to interrupt the slow weapon in time, the heavy weapon in motion will not be stoppable. Well, if the heavy weapon is slow, nobody is going to stop it. They're just going to dodge it. Go to Dogs of the Desert training server. It's two-handed axes, spears, and bows. That's all that's being used there. And anyone else using any other weapon there doesn't know what he's doing. If you want to go to Dogs of the Desert training server and do 1,000 fights, after less than 20 or 30 fights there, you will be reduced to 3 weapons: the spear, the two-handed axe, or the bow, because all the rest is not gonna cut it. You have to also understand that there's no target lock there, so you can't. It's real PvP based on skill. So if you do add the target lock of official PvP servers, there's also daggers that can be included in a PvP fight. But there shouldn't be target lock on official PvP in the first place. Yeah? Nobody likes it because you can simply, it's like World of Warcraft. You can literally open your map while doing a fight because you're locked onto the target, and all you have to do is just click, 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 click till he's dead. Increasing dynamics with tension. Think back to the theory of fun presented earlier and how that can relate to the resources you have to manage in combat. Can we use those resources to make combat feel more engaging without changes to the actual AI you fight? When you are low on stamina, the pressure of stress in combat reaches a peak. Without stamina, you are forced to use positioning to avoid attacks from enemies that may swing your direction. Without stamina, you are vulnerable, and without stamina, it is effectively the enemy's turn. When your stamina comes back, you are in control again. Well, I played on the beta, and stamina is not a problem. It's become easier than ever because you don't get punished for running out of stamina anymore. As soon as you hit 0, you simply walk away, and less than a second later, you have enough stamina to do another attack. While in the past, you would have to wait at least 3 seconds for your stamina to start regenerating again. So where does this idea come from that you're going to be out of stamina? It's the stamina is better than ever. And I'm not even wearing in that playthrough. Yeah, I'm wearing gear to increase my stamina because that's the only way to have enough strength and enough. But there will only be one build if the changes that are made in the beta. There will only be one build running around on the entire server, and that is dagger spammers. Because nobody is. You have to put 5 points in grit now to be competitive. And without the increased moving speed, full HP, and encumbrance to farm, which is 99% of your time spent in Conan Exiles. It's only after farming for a month that you can spec into a full strength build and go around or go run around on the map and terrorize other players who try to get somewhere and build something. All the other time you are running around in an encumbrance build with an agility armor because there's no alternative. And that's also one of the things that there's a great example for this. Yeah? If you've played on modded servers, there's this voting system, and when it turns nighttime, the admin says, "All right, if you don't want nighttime in this moment, you can vote." And if enough people vote to turn it daytime, it will become daytime. Well, I played on those servers hundreds of hours, and every time the light starts turning a little bit down on the server, everybody starts voting. Literally everybody. Only people standing AFK in their base are not voting. But everybody else starts voting because guess what? Everybody hates nighttime in any game. Why would I pay 500 or whatever amount of money for a big monitor that shows a beautiful game only to turn it completely black? The only reason that people like nighttime is because they find it they play 2 hours a week because they have no idea what it does to your eyes if you play more than 2 hours a week. But those are the perks of the forum, yeah? Shouting off their little mouth, "Oh, nighttime, it's so great. Oh, yeah, keep it. Oh, it's amazing." Fuck off, yeah? You have no idea what you're talking about, and nobody wants this. Nobody. It's 0.001% of the entire community that likes nighttime. So also, why would somebody run out of stamina? If you know you're going to be you're wielding a heavy weapon, why are you going to try and get 4 hits in, completely draining your stamina while you know you actually only should be doing 2 hits. So you have plenty of stamina to start sprinting away in case they do hit, or you have desync or lag spikes or whatever, or an enemy shows up unexpectedly. This doesn't change anything. I would argue the reverse. I've played on the beta. You have more stamina than ever. Enemies, weapons, and repairs. Additional updates during this age will come to both enemy health and weapon balance, two sides of the same coin. Additional updates during this age will come to both enemy health and weapon balance, two sides of the same coin. What does that even mean? Anyways, we have gone through all the weapons and enemies in the game and applied updated balance to them. But it's important to know why. No, it's not important to know why. Because it's obvious that you have no idea what the PvP community wants. You have no experience with them. While playtesting, we observed recurring patterns that we felt had the opportunity to be more interesting and did not live up to the Exiles' design direction. When exploring the world, it felt like there was little reason to clear a point of interest after you had explored it once. The rewards for the effort you put into clearing the camp were not worth the time and cost to do so. Once we obtained legendary items, our desire to explore and repeat content went down dramatically. When adventuring, some enemies posed little threat and had very high health pools, which led to boring encounters with no contrast in the action. They know. They just know that if you look at my playthrough, nothing has changed to anything that I have been doing differently, that I've been doing in the 7,000 hours of Conan Exiles I've played since I started learning from day one. Yes, on day one I built a base in the desert, yes. But after 2 weeks I realized, oh, there's only one place to go on the entire map, and that's Mounts of the Dead. Because you build a base in Mounts of the Dead, you can hear the star metal drop while you are farming. You have there the dedicated spawn for the bladesmith. You have the dedicated spawn for the shieldwright. The NPCs drop star metal tools, hardened steel tools that you need to mine the star metal. There's wood there, stone, water. There's demon blood. The only thing that isn't there is brimstone. There's horse spawns there. There's animals for pelt. There's a dedicated spawn for Taskmaster. There's the Sumerian Berserker spawn, Dalincia Snowhunter spawn. Everything that you need to be successful on a PvP server is in Mounts of the Dead. That's 1% of the entire map. And I always spend the first 3 or 4 days exclusively there because the rest of the map is it's not balanced. There is no distribution of resources that can even come close to Mounts of the Dead. There's ironstone, everything is there. Everything you need to start off and snowball into endgame is there. You're close to Black Keep for your Silent Legion armor. Everything is there. Now, you say that in order to motivate people to go out again to find legendary weapons is somehow boring. What is going to change exactly? Because in the past you didn't need legendary weapons because they were not competitive. But now you need them to be competitive. The only problem that you created now is that people will go and try to get legendary weapons, but they will not get what they want. A player will want one specific spear because you made it super overpowered in comparison to other spears. A player will want one set of daggers because all the other daggers don't stack up to that one set of daggers that you made extremely good against other players. Same with the two-handed sword for a troll. And all the other weapons, all the other legendary weapons are garbage. Nobody will use them. They will only use them because they have no other option. They didn't get lucky. So we can scroll all the way back to the beginning here and talk about the good stress. Yeah, where does the good stress come in when your competitiveness is not based on skill? It's based on luck. If you get lucky, you get a stress relief. because you got the right weapon or you got the right troll, but you didn't get the good stress because you climbed the wall based on your skill. You get it because you got lucky. And what are we talking about? We're not in 1980s anymore. Games are not like in 1980s where it's challenging to climb a wall. Yeah, we want you to feel like a warrior capable of chopping off heads and limbs as enemies attack you. When fighting a few enemies, you should have to use some skill to dodge, block, or otherwise evade attacks and weave in your offenses. For difficult encounters, you should have to plan your approach. Ideally, you should never walk up to a monster and stand unmoving, swinging your weapon into it for 5 minutes to defeat it. We needed to reduce the slog and ramp up the action. Well, I agree with that. And those changes to the three skull bosses, to the tier 2 fighters in Mounts of the Dead, which I have the most experience with, they are very deadly. The only problem with this is the official servers are so laggy that dodging doesn't matter. You go in there, you face tank, and get the kill, or you're just getting killed. Because 90% of the time, as soon as there's more than 10 players on the official servers, nothing is moving anymore. They're just standing there. And you have to, again, get lucky. Because if the server all of a sudden decides to desync and all the trolls spur into action and you are unlucky that it happens while you are kicking an NPC's ass, you get killed. There's no skill, nothing. It's desync and lag. That's what's gonna get you killed on an official full pop server. So we made the following changes. A new weapon balance scheme that allows us to increase interest and value when looting. Legendary weapon power sits on top of the new balance scheme, making them the undisputed strongest items. Items lose maximum durability when being repaired. Again, this let's just jump on this, yeah? Nobody cares about repair. Nobody wants it. It's complete waste of time. Nobody wants to repair their weapons. First of all, they got lucky to get the weapon in the first place, and now they are unable to repair it for an extended period of time. Why? Why? It's like the discussion with the nighttime, yeah? You have 0.001% of complete moronic people who have no idea what's going on. And they decide, oh yeah, the game needs to be more realistic. Weapons get dull, axes get dull. We have to give people an option to repair it. And now you have taken this repair option completely away. So not only is your skill being impacted by the fact that you have to get lucky to get the weapon that will show off your skill against somebody else who has the same best weapon, who also got lucky. But now you cannot fight with this weapon because it's gonna run out of durability. So you have to fight with inferior weapons and then revert to the high power weapon when you encounter another player on the map. It's game breaking. It's like going to a car shop and saying, "All right, I want that expensive car there because I know it's a good car and it's gonna get me from A to B in a very effective way." And then the car sales manager says, "Yeah, it is a good car. It is the best car, but you can't repair it. You have to you have to buy another car because if you drive this expensive, really good car too much, it's going to break. So you have to drive an inferior car while having the other car in your garage. And if a friend challenges you or you go on holiday once a year, then you can use that car because then it's more effective to use that car to drive a long distance. But don't drive it too long because it's going to break. And then you have to come back here. And if you are lucky, we have made another car for you. But if you're unlucky, you have to choose from 10 other cars that you don't want because we don't always sell that car, that really good car that you want. You're gonna have to buy 9 other cars before you are able to get that one car that you want. Enemy health reductions, enemy damage increases. Yes, it's there and it's good. By making a new layout for weapon power, we can make sure each time you upgrade your weapons, it's a noticeable power gain. We are also able to ensure that when you adventure into the world, you can find new items that are stronger than the ones you can craft. This introduces our new item type, which we call unique items. Unique items are like items you can already make, but they come with an additional power spike. This also solves the problem with legendary items. Now legendary weapons sit on top of the heap of power and are indisputably more powerful than their epic and unique counterparts. However, they won't last forever because items no longer last forever. They are a new motivations for you to venture back into the world to acquire powerful items. Well, guess what? Nobody's going to do it. Yeah, you get this uptick in players, and they will soon realize that their skill doesn't matter. It's all based on luck, and if they are unlucky, they simply log out and go back to a game where they can be competitive, where a, a very defined line that they can follow, and if they follow this line several times in a row, they get better at it. They get better at walking the fine line to end game gear. And that's what makes a game fun. That's what makes a game interesting. And there also comes the good stressing, because if you have geared up from 0 to level 60 to with the best gear 10, 20, 30 times in a row, you get better at it. And the stress comes from logging in and achieving this competitiveness in a shorter and shorter amount of time. You guys, for some reason, keep throwing in these things that make it based on luck. Yes, luck should be a part of the game, but it should not be dominating in every aspect. Want to get a god priest to take revenge on an enemy clan? All right, yes, that should be based on luck. Do you want a weapon that you have to use 10 times a day because you encounter players all over the map? Should that be based on luck? No, it should be a reliable location to farm these materials, to get the recipe, and to make these weapons in your base without having to expose yourself to the entire server, because every time you get killed, you get sent back to the Stone Age if you don't have spare set gear. And you can't kill these legendary bosses who give the keys to get the legendary weapons now. Conclusion. In Chapter 1 of the Age of War, you'll get updated item and enemy balance, revised stamina cost, stun break removal, and changes to repair items. In Chapter 2, item distribution will be updated along with adjustments to hyper armor, and attacks will allow rotation. Ah, yes, the aimbot that comes to Conan Exiles. Instead of dealing with the cheaters, trying to get rid of the cheaters who have these things, you're just giving it to everybody. Because I saw the live stream and your eyes lit up like fire when they said, "Oh, we're getting an aimbot," and you said, "No, no, it's assistance. It's assistance. It's not an aimbot. It's an aimbot." Yeah, you can see it in my series. If an enemy gets close to you, you automatically turn towards it, even if you're mining stone or chopping wood. You flip a 180 and you have no control over your character at all. You want to keep mining? Ah, forget it. You want to tank the hits from the NPC and keep mining? Ah, forget about it, man. We're just gonna make you turn 180 towards him, so you're not hitting the node anymore, and you're hitting with your pickaxe the NPC now. It's who comes up with this shit? We should have less of it, not more, and do something about the cheaters with their aimbots and their auto lock and all that shit. I hope this explanation has helped provide some insight into the cascading series of changes that can occur when you identify an issue with a system or behavior that we want to correct. Sure, nobody asked for direct changes to stamina. Exactly. Nobody asked for it, but you did it anyways. Sure, yeah. But to apply fixes that were more than simply band-aids, we sometimes need to manipulate several systems you are already familiar with. We do this sparingly because we realized that any of these changes in a vacuum could be enough to push some people to stop playing the game. Or we are always aiming for a healthier and more enjoyable experience for everyone at the end of the day. Yes, I understand. The road to hell is also paved with good intentions, yeah. It's it's really simple, yeah, to make your game fun again. Getting to end game content shouldn't be based on luck. Give these shield rights, these bladesmiths, give them dedicated spawns. Allow us to repair these legendary weapons and make them dedicated spawns. That if somebody wants to play with daggers, they can just go get it. Yeah? But now the age of sorcery is over, and the only way you're going to get some resources together is by running the Kurek dungeon. Again, the entire map completely useless. The only way you're going to make money is in the Kurek dungeon. There you're gonna get your tar, your steel reinforcements. So everybody queue up because there's only gonna be one spot on the entire map you're gonna be playing, and that's around the Kurak dungeon, the entrance of the Kurak dungeon, because all the rest is a waste of time. And if you have no other alternative, then because there's one clan who will now probably build a giant base right next to Kurak dungeon, and every time they see somebody walking up there to catch the cooldown timer of the Kurak dungeon, they simply walk outside their base with 3 or 4 people, kill you instantly, and grab everything you have, because they have been farming these legendary weapons, and they have plenty of them. All this said, we are aware that the breadth of these changes has some people worried that they will introduce behavior they feel breaks the game or shifts the meta unfavorably. Well, if you keep going down this path and refuse to see the real problems in the PvP community, this game will turn into a PvE game 100%. Nobody will play on official PvP anymore because it's completely broken. There's only one solution to this. Yeah? Wipe these PvP servers at least once a year. So all that garbage, all these exploits, all these power creep clans, all these gigantic bases, undermesh crap, stacked items, all this gets removed, so the servers perform again, and people can have at least one chance a year to be competitive with somebody else, and make servers where you have humane raid times, where people don't have to be 7 days a week, 6 hours a day online. Just think about that. It's not a game that is fun. It's a job. It's not even an obsessive hobby to play on official PvP. No, it's a fucking job. You can't have a social life. You can't. It's only for 0.1% of the entire population of gamers that can actually play official PvP. Because I've done it. I've been there. I've done it, and it's every day in the Discord. A literally a fight to get people online to protect the base. Because if you're not online for one day, you lose everything. And so make humane raid times, wipe the servers on a regular basis so people can go in, build up, get destroyed, leave, and come back again. But now they go in, they build up, they get destroyed, and they leave forever. Because after 5 or 6 or 7 times on a high pop server, they realize, oh, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do to get through this, to get to end game content, and to beat these guys. I can't. They will dominate on this server until they decide they're sick and tired of dominating, and then so again, it's based on luck. If you're lucky and they don't find you, or they have burnout, then you will be able to achieve greatness. Yeah. But beyond that, there's nothing. There's nothing to come back to this game. And then the last thing I want to touch on, and that's probably the most important of all, You can leave all the raid timers as it is. You can change the combat system, the legendary weapons. You can change anything as much as you want. The most important thing of all is the competitiveness. If you log into a server, you know you have a potential of being up against a 10-man clan. Why? Why would I even go online? Why would I even log into a server when my odds of having a fair fight are 10 to 1? It's like betting on a horse with 3 legs in a race where horses with 4 legs are running. Nobody's going to take that bet. So make servers official solo, official duo, official trio, official quattro, official cinco, you name it. From 1 to 10, make 3 servers solo on Siptao Exiled Lands, make 3 servers duo, make 3 or 4 servers trio, and adjust the raid times a little bit. So people don't have to be online 7 days a week, 6 hours a day. Thank you.